In 1860, an Englishman invented linoleum, a revolutionary floor covering made of linseed oil, pigments, pine rosin and pine flour. A century later, in the 1960s, newfangled vinyl flooring pulled the rug from under linoleum and eventually rendered it obsolete. Vinyl flooring owes its existence to a German chemist who in 1872 invented polyvinyl chloride, or PVC. PVC was considered a thoroughly useless substance until the 1920s, when an American researcher tried to make it useful by turning it into an adhesive. He didn't succeed, but in the process, he accidentally discovered that heating PVC in a solvent transformed it into a flexible plastic, what we know today as vinyl. Sheet vinyl flooring comes in a cornucopia of colours and designs, some of which simulate ceramic tiles or hard wood flooring. Seen here under a microscope, vinyl flooring is comprised of three components: a felt paper backing on the bottom, a layer of vinyl foam in the middle on which the design is printed, and a protective layer of transparent vinyl on top. To create texture, the factory applies an inhibitor to prevent the foam from expanding in specific areas. To make the vinyl foam, workers first mix the powdered ingredients: polyvinyl chloride resins, or PVC, white pigment, and calcium carbonate, which acts as a filler but also helps colour the mixture white. In a separate mixer are the liquid ingredients: plasticizer to make the vinyl flexible, fungicide to prevent mould growth, UV stabilizers to prevent fading, and an agent which will later be activated to inflate the foam. The liquid and powders are combined, then mixed for another 15 minutes. After filtering the mixture to remove any lumps or paper bag fragments, the liquid foam goes to the production line. There, a large coater applies an even layer to a continuous sheet of felt paper backing. The coated backing then passes through an oven for 15 seconds. The heat, 220 degrees Celsius, solidifies the liquid foam, fusing the PVC and adhering it to the backing. At this point, it's critical not to activate the blowing agent. The floor's design will be printed directly onto this foam surface. A graphic designer created the artwork by computer, then with a colorist, experimented with dozens of color combinations before deciding on which one to use. The computer breaks down the final design by color in order to produce an engraved plate for each one. Then the design is tested on a piece of foam, printing one color after the other until the design is complete. On the production line, printing works the same way. But because it's a continuous process, rotating cylinders rather than engraved plates are used. The flooring just rolls right through them, receiving up to 6 ink colours one at a time. A dryer dries the ink in between applications. Now it's time to apply the floor's top layer. This coat of vinyl is known as the wear layer because it'll be subjected to the wear and tear of walking. The wear layer protects the design printed on the vinyl foam underneath. Made of PVC resins and plasticizer, it goes on white, but turns transparent once fused in the oven at 220 degrees Celsius. At the same time, the heat of the oven activates the blowing agent in the vinyl foam underneath, expanding it. To create texture, workers use a process called chemical embossing, in which selected ink colours contain a chemical inhibitor to suppress foam expansion. Wherever they print those colours, the foam remains flat. These height variations create relief and can simulate grout lines in tile designs. To give the surface a sharper, more natural look, the flooring proceeds to a second process called mechanical embossing, in which an engraved roller imprints its pattern onto the surface. Workers inspect the finished flooring as it rolls off the production line. It's 3.7 metres in width, wide enough for seamless installation in most rooms. And that's how you make the usurper of the much derided and occasionally missed linoleum.